Bienvenidos a este nuevo vídeo de DevirTV. Estamos aquí en la feria de Essen, en el stand de Devir, muy bien acompañados, como podéis comprobar. Tenemos aquí a dos cracks. Tenemos al grandísimo Matt Leacock, the great Matt Leacock, with me. He's the author of Pandemic and other games of Devir, like Forbidden Island, Forbidden Desert, and all that stuff. How are you, Matt?
I'm very well, thank you.
Y al otro lado tenemos a Jesús Torres, que como bien sabéis, la última vez que estuvimos con él en DevirTV fue para hablar de Pandemic Iberia, y bueno, pues aquí lo tenemos ya, y hoy tenemos a los dos autores de este juego. ¿Qué tal, Jesús?
Pues nada, muy bien, aquí disfrutando de la feria.
Muy bien, pues Pandemic Iberia is released now. You both did that awesome game. We think it's a great one. I've seen a lot of people enjoying it. How you felt the first reactions?
Oh, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. The artwork has a nice warmth to it. It's just a beautiful game. Yeah, very happy.
Have you seen reactions, Jesús?
Yes, just before Essen, we have the game also in Córdoba, in the festival in Córdoba, the first copies of the edition, and the game was non-stop in playing all the festival, and people are very happy. And also here, it's beautiful to see the people enjoying the game.
Yeah, for me it was really funny to see a lot of people with a Spain map playing there here in Essen. For me it was like shocking a bit. Well, are you happy with the game?
Yes, very much. We work very closely with the team, and of course I worked very, very closely with Jesús over a year developing it out. And basically everything we asked for, we got in the game. So, yeah.
Can you tell me a bit about how was that first idea of doing Pandemic Iberia?
Yeah, well, the idea is to have a different local version of the game to coincide with the Pandemic Survival Tournament each year. This year it'll be in Barcelona, so I met Jesús and I put two things together and said, hey, we should make a game set in Spain. And then we expanded it out to all of the Iberian Peninsula, and yeah, everything just kind of clicked together.
And Matt, how you met? Because I know Jesús is a really good creator of games, but how you knew him?
We met at the Festival of Games in Córdoba. I was invited out as a special guest and spent a lot of time with Jesús and Sansol. They showed me the city, we got to know each other. We just had a wonderful visit, my wife Donna and myself. And then this opportunity appeared to do this game, and it was just a natural thing to ask him.
And all the new mechanics that are inside Pandemic Iberia, how did you distribute the work of creating them?
I don't remember. I think we both threw ideas back and forth. Jesús had a torrent, a fire hose of ideas, tons of ideas. Which
was the most interesting mechanic that Jesús proposed for Pandemic Iberia that you said, oh, that's great?
I think the rail lines, the establishment of the rail lines is really fun because it takes a rail game and merges it with Pandemic to some extent. And as the threat of the game increases, your capability to deal with it also increases. So it's got this really interesting tension and another strategic kind of arc to it. You know, it requires energy to put the rail down, but it'll pay off later in the game. And so you have to kind of manage that as you're playing. It's a lot of fun.
Which thing you think, Jesús, that it's the most interesting one in Pandemic Iberia, the most unique?
I think the ability of the players of think on a strategic long-term plan, because the structure of this railroad network depends on your work at the beginning of the game. So you must plan your railroads to be useful in the future of the game.
You think it's a bit more difficult game than Pandemic regular game?
Just a little bit more difficult because you have more things to do, but inside the game you have two expansions if you want to do. We call it challenge, with more difficult, not more difficult, but more rules. This could be a more difficult game, but not the basic game.
Yeah, and you told me, Jesús, that a lot of historical stuff you were searching and developing in the game. At this final version, which things can we see of that Spain, of that past time?
Yeah, of course, the game is a game. It's a game to be played, but there are some details about the history and what happened in Spain in the 19th century, when all these diseases were studying, no, at the beginning of the modern medicine and the modern science. So you get some details in the events card. You have a little explanation on the rules about what happened in Spain and Portugal in this period.
Do you think, because I think that this game is going to be like a limited edition, how will be the demand? You think maybe like in 3 years people will be searching it like it's over or what?
I hate to predict it. I mean, I think it's a really fantastic product, and it is a one printing, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with it. Only time will tell.
Jesús, and you, because I think this game has put you like a bit more on the spotlight, and many people start to know you as a great game designer. Have you seen some reactions about it?
Yes, of course. Pandemic is a worldwide success, so it's a big opportunity for me. So I have to thank Matt to make me this, so I can participate of this game, and I am very happy. Yes.
Okay, and about more years to come and more pandemic survivals. You have some things of other countries what to do.
Well, I believe the next pandemic survival tournament will be in the Netherlands.
Okay.
I think they've announced that, so it makes one wonder what might happen next. You scratch your head and think.
There are many interesting things in this country. I think you can do a cool pandemic there.
Quite possibly, yes.
Well, we have Leacock here, then we'll have more questions for him because we have 2 new pandemics with the beer, Pandemic Iberia and also Pandemic Reign of Tulu. People, it's like freaking out about this new game. I could make a game past week. I really enjoy it. How you feel about the final product?
I'm really happy with that one as well. I worked with Chuck Yeager on that. He did the initial design, then I helped develop and help with the balance. But Chuck really knows the Cthulhu mythos inside and out in a way that I just didn't. And he really made it sing. So we had a fun time developing it out and making it so the Shoggoths could move around the board and introduce new elements to Pandemic that had never been in there before. And the Z-Man team did a really nice job on the graphic design, the colors and the mood, and it's a nice product.
Do you think, I think it, but do you think it's the mechanics will surprise people that have played only basic Pandemic, for example?
Well, it's interesting. So it's a mix. So some things are simpler. There's no outbreaks, for example. But there's other pieces that we've integrated in that bring out the mythos and the feel and the theme. So you're awakening old ones as the game progresses, which make the game progressively more difficult. So you have to manage that. And these Shoggoths are marching across the board, and you can go insane. So there's other elements to it that kind of enrich it and make it different and difficult in a different way.
It's curious because it seems like Pandemic is a really good core game to introduce new things like Pandemic Iberia or Pandemic Tulu and many others. How far do you think Pandemic can go on? Because I think by now it's going really well.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the way it's been going. Obviously, we don't want to flood the market with tons of Pandemic products, but as long as people are interested, I'm happy to design them. There's some interesting things that you can do when you create a new standalone game that you can't with an expansion. So those have been fun for me. Reign of Cthulhu and Iberia are examples of that. You can kind of come back to what the interesting core engine and then try out and experiment with new things. So we'll see, see how people react to them, but I'm optimistic and enjoying it.
Matt told me, I think that some years ago you didn't think that Pandemia could have expansion, but you are wrong, I think, no.
It's true. I mean, when they asked for Z-Man, they said, hey, how about doing an expansion for Pandemic? And I was a little skeptical. I'm like, I don't know. I thought the game was kind of fragile. Now I know, with especially with all the work in Pandemic Legacy, there's so many things that you can play with. It's been fun for me to explore that space.
And Matt, we have to talk a little bit about Pandemic Legacy. All people is amazed, and I'm sure you too. It's #1 on BGG, and that's really cool. You had a lot of prizes with Pandemic Legacy. How you felt with that emotion?
Oh, just ecstatic. It was kind of a surprise to watch it climb up the charts on Board Game Geek, especially. I must admit I would wake up in the morning and try to see how far it had gone.
How many cards broken and burnt have you seen those days?
I've seen them in blenders, I've seen them in the fireplace, I've seen, yeah, all sorts of things. It's fun to see what people do.
And what can you say of Pandemic Season 2?
Well, I saw a photograph of it online this morning, so someone took a picture of it. I can tell you it's going to be released in 2017, but we haven't announced a month yet. I can tell you that it's a standalone game, so you don't have to have a Pandemic or Season 1. Although, if you played Season 1, you'll understand certain things about the story a little bit more. It's kind of like jumping into Season 2 of a TV show, right? You can watch it, but it might help to understand a little bit if you had played the first one. And it's different. Yeah. And we had
we saw like military people or something in the cover.
I'm not going to comment on that. I can tell you that we had a lot of fun designing it, and when you see the board, you'll probably be surprised. Yeah, I think that's about all I can say.
There's more plans about Pandemic to come, not only Legacy.
There's always more in the works, yeah. As long as people are interested, I'm interested.
We'll be checking out because we really like Pandemic and we are very happy with everything that happens with Pandemic these days. Then Jesús, thank you very much, and Matt for your time. Have a nice fair and hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias a todos y divertirse.
Yeah.